You're listening to My Comic Life on the My Comic Life Podcast Network. Welcome back to My Comic Life, everyone. That's right, My Comic Life. We are your number one podcast for all things geek, nerd, movies, TV, video games, comic book, pop culture. If you're into any of that, stop! You have found the podcast for you. My name is Sam, and joining me each week in the My Comic Life studio, folks, I just found out before the show, this semester at Greendale Community College, he is teaching dragon riding lessons. That's right. If you've ever wanted to learn how to ride a dragon, Alex here is the man to teach you. All you got to do is locate Greendale Community College, and Alex, my beautiful co-host, will be teaching lessons this semester.
No, it's not
Take
riding,
it away,
it's chasing
Alex.
the dragons, actually. I'm going to teach you how to go down under the bridge, buy some heroin from a guy named Jorge down there. All you need is like 25, maybe $35 out of your mom's purse. You roll on down to the bridge off South 81st Street. Talk to a guy named Jorge, because Jorge's shit is the bomb, But, in actuality, folks, don't do drugs. We're drug-free here on My Comic Life. But I had a wonderful weekend, a great week so far. Finally it's going to be the last week that I'm going to be working a lot of these harsh hours. Hopefully I'm going to be back to working the day shift, and we'll be able to pump out a lot more episodes for you guys, have a little bit more fun. And I can't wait to actually get, this is, I think, the second real episode of season 3. So we're just kind of really getting into the nitty gritty of it here. And I think the rumors are true, some really good things are getting ready to come on down the pipeline that I really can't wait for. So, I'm super excited to get into this week's show. But Sam, how was your week so far?
Oh man, my week's been good so far. 3-day weekend with it being Labor Day weekend, so I was glad to have that off. College football kicked off. I am one of those rare, geek nerds who also loves sports. My team, the LSU Tigers, lost a heartbreaker in the last second, 23-24 to Florida State last night. That really hurt to, see. But beyond that, good weekend, just relaxing, playing a lot of video games, catching up on my TV shows, watching some movies. I got to hang out with some friends, so no real complaints other than my team lost. But good weekend and good. Always good to have a Monday off because it's a shortened week. Actually, it's going to be a shortened week for me anyway. Because Wednesday I'm flying out to Kentucky for a bachelor party.
Lock up your daughters.
Yeah. I was gonna think I might be calling you for bail this week, Alex, to be like, man, I need you to drive from the My Comic Life studio, which I know is where you live, eat, sleep, and drink.
I'll definitely drink in there.
My Comic Life, but I need you to. Yeah, I need you to leave the My Comic Life studio and come bail me out of jail.
Hit
in
up the My
Kentucky.
Comic Life slush fund for that good old bail money. Right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that you watched a lot of great TV this week, man, and I think it goes well. It's a great segue into our first segment of the show because have we ever had a great week for TV, huh?
Yes, sir. We have a very special edition this week. As we mentioned in last week's episode, there was a ton of new programming to watch this late summer / early fall. In fact, this past week has been a hard one for your internet connections, with multiple shows either making their debuts or still within the first half of their season. With this in mind, we are going to play a very special edition of What Are You Watching?
Solid read there, Sam.
I was trying to give you the Price is Right voice there. Kicking off things here, we are definitely watching this show at My Comic Life. We are behind this show at My Comic Life. We are fighting off the haters left and right for this show at My Comic Life. That is She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. As you know, Jennifer Walters is an attorney specializing in superhuman-oriented legal cases and must navigate the complicated life of a single 30-something who also happens to be a 6'7" green superpowered Hulk. The 9-episode comedy series welcomes a host of MCU vets, including Mark Ruffalo as Smart Hulk, Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky / The Abomination, Benedict Wong as Wong, as well as Jamila Jamil, Josh Segura, Ginger Gonzaga, John Bass, and Renee Elise Godsberry. Directed by Kat Coiro and Anu Valia, with Jessica Gao as head writer. She-Hulk Attorney at Law streams Wednesdays on Disney Plus, and of course we are covering all the episodes right here on My Comic Life. But Alex, I got to ask you this honest question here. Was this always a day one watch for you, or are you watching because we are covering it here on My Comic Life?
I am watching this show. It's not necessarily like a day one watch, like the very first, like every Wednesday I'm checking it out, because I am watching it with my fiance Britt. So we have to typically wait until probably Friday night or Saturday night to catch it. So that's typically when I do watch it. So as far as it being like a true day one watch for me, it's not there. Although I would like to, but I've definitely been having a blast with that show. And regardless of whether we had decided to pick it up for our last segment or not, I would definitely be watching it, because like I said, I'm a huge fan of it, and it's definitely something that I've needed kind of from the MCU. But what about you, Sam? Is this a day one watch for you?
I mean, kind of like you. Like, I don't watch it every Wednesday when it comes out, but like I do usually catch it on like Thursday, Friday, or sometimes I will watch it Sunday nights right before our show because I know that we're going to recap it. So it's fresh in my mind because like I definitely want to not to repeat myself too much here, but yeah, I want to keep it as fresh as possible so I can really talk about it in depth. But again, like I always joke about this. We are having our Charles and Eric moment of the show here. I'm on the same mindset you are. Even if you had gone, or we had gone. Sorry, we here at My Comic Life. If we had gone with a different show other than She-Hulk Attorney at Law, yes, I would still be watching this. This was not a have to watch just because we're covering the show. This was I want to watch it. Because it interested me, and it's turning out to be a really great and good show. That being said, though, if you listeners out there cannot find the time to watch She-Hulk Attorney at Law, remember, you can catch our recap weekly right here on My Comic Life. Sorry, folks, we had to do the shameless plug there. All right, moving on. Next up is Game of Thrones House of Dragons. The reign of the House Targaryen begins. The House of the Dragon, the prequel to Game of Thrones, is here. Based on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, the series, which is set 200 years before, and boy, do they let you know that right out of the gate. Again, this series is set right in the like right in the show crawl of like the first episode. They really let you know there is no way in hell you're catching any Game of Thrones characters in this show, because they really establish that it's 200 years before Game of Thrones, and like that's like the first 2 seconds of the show. You know this fact. But yes, the series, again, which is set 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones, tells the story of the House Targaryen. House of Dragon stars Considine, sorry, butchering names there, of Peaky Blinders, Matt Smith,
Friend of the
of course,
show.
of Doctor Who, and Morbius! Yes, friend of the show, Matt Smith. We love you here, Matt Smith. Reese Ifans, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name there, Reese, of Spider-Man No Way Home and The Amazing Spider-Man. He played Dr. Curtis Connors, if you will. House of Dragons streams Sunday nights on HBO Max. Alex, let me ask you here, have you managed to watch any of this show yet, and what do you think?
I dig this one pretty hard. I'm pretty like knee deep into this show. Like I love it. I think Matt Smith, who plays, Lord Damon of Dragonstone, like he is like my guy. Dude. I know he's like kind of like a dick, and he's meant to be like the hated person of the show, but he's like, I mean, without giving away too much, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I'll just say like he's the most interesting character to me. He is also the only one that gets anything done so far, and I just really, for somebody who played Doctor Who and was actually like a beloved Doctor Who, like for a lot of people, he's the favorite. and just to see him make such a turn and become kind of this guy, like you're like, it's difficult for me not to picture Doctor Who when he's over there and he's just like clapping some cheeks in a brothel, or he's using the c word or something and stuff like that, and it's just wild to watch. And he totally just, oh man, you can tell that he really like revels in being this character, and it shows with his passion. And the show, everybody is, it's vintage HBO, and I feel like um, it's almost comforting in a way, because we haven't had any like Game of Thrones in a little while now, but it was like, it kind of reminds me of a time that was. It's kind of like watching old Saturday morning cartoons or something, almost, where you're just like, oh man, Sunday nights watching Game of Thrones. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's kind of like comforting in that way. So I dig this show a lot, man. But what about you, Sam? Have you watched it yet? And do you like it?
Oh yeah, I'm loving this show. It's got a great cast again. Yes, Matt Smith is most definitely the breakout character on this show. Although the future queen of the Iron Throne, it looks like she's quite
Yeah,
engaging and
Rhaenyra. Yeah,
intriguing as
she's
well. Like
also a
I'm
really good
curious to see
character.
where her, yeah, Rhaenyra. My heart breaks for her father. He's too much of a good guy to play the Game of Thrones, and I think he's gonna die much in the fashion that Lord Snow died in the first season. Sorry, spoiler, folks. Game of Thrones has been out for a while now. If you haven't seen it, but yeah, it's always the nice guys who try to please everybody that wind up with their heads on a pike,
That's what I was doing. This is another
or
show
on a
that I've
spike,
been
if you
watching
will.
with Brit, and it's like, um, when you see these parts and stuff, and if she's never seen Game of Thrones, so it's like when you're kind of a veteran of the show and stuff, you're just like, she's like, oh, I like this person. I'm like, yeah, you better get ready to watch them die like a very horrible death, because this is Game of Thrones, and like you just have that kind of ingrained. So like it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome type of scenario with this show, where it's like you just have this love-hate relationship where they just kill off a lot of your favorite characters, but it's just so good, man. So I'm ready to start that love affair again with it. But I'm sorry I interrupted. Please go ahead. Go on.
No, no, and you're right. It is so weird to see Matt Smith in this role, but he's doing so amazing in it. But you're right. Like I'm used to Matt Smith just being my doctor. In fact, like he is like one of my favorite, if not my favorite doctor. Because Matt Smith to me feels like a doctor who has ADHD, and I can so relate to that because I have ADHD. So Matt Smith just always felt like a doctor who was bouncing off the walls with uncontained energy, and that's what I loved about his take on Doctor Who. So yeah, so to see him in a whorehouse, as you said, clapping cheeks and cutting off people's heads and being all rude and arrogant and cocky and like the throne should be mine and I will, and I'm just gonna go kind of start my own second kingdom over here. Yeah, man, it's almost kind of hurt my soul a little bit to see Matt Smith play this part, but I'm also loving it at the same time. There's much internal conflict in me to see Matt Smith in this role, but no, he is fucking awesome. He's owning it. Yeah, this is yeah, loving it. And yeah, definitely sit down every Sunday night with a glass of scotch, a glass of well aged 12-year-old scotch.
Bring forth the wine.
And yes, bring
So
forth the
that being said,
wine, the
Sam,
mead, if
with
you
this,
will.
so I think you're kind of getting ready to answer it here, but is this a day one watch for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is a day one or night one Sunday night watch for me. Yes, definitely sit down, watch it. If I can. If not, then I catch it on Monday. Like I missed it last night. But yeah, definitely watched it today. But yeah, this is either a Sunday night or like a Monday evening watch. And yeah, I cannot wait to see where this show goes. But loving it so far. Yeah, Alex, any final thoughts on Game of Thrones House of the Dragon before we move on
I
here?
think like this is, yeah, and I don't know about you fans, how you feel out there. You can let me know in the comments. But this is one of those shows where it's almost like you have to day one watch it, because the immense popularity that it does have. It's one of those things like it has ascended to the first the first Game of Thrones levels, the Walking Dead in their heyday levels, where if you didn't watch it that first night, you had to avoid every coworker until you did catch it. So it's just better for you to just watch it on the first day. So that's all I'll say about that from there.
Yeah, man. Don't hang out at the water cooler at work. Unless you want this show spoiled. But yeah, moving on from Game of Thrones, we're moving to The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. The epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, and The Lord of the Rings follows an ensemble cast of characters both familiar and new as they confront the long-feared re-emergence of the evil to Middle-earth. The Rings of Power stars Moyfred Clark from Pride and Prejudice Zombies as a much younger Gladriel, Robert Aramayo from Game of Thrones as young Elrond, Ishmael Cruz Cordova from The Mandalorian as Arondir, a Sylvan elf created for the TV series. Alex, have you managed to catch this show yet? And if so, what do you think so far, sir?
I dig this show. You and I were talking about it in the kind of rehearsal for the show, but it is very much in the like you do catch those Peter Jackson vibes with the music, the kind of attention to detail, the settings, the kind of landscape, the different cinematography and everything like that. It's all very Peter Jackson-esque, so it does, like, you do definitely, there's a continuity there. And also with them bringing in, you have, like you said, you have, Morfydd Clark as a young Galadriel who was played by, what was her name? She was, this is going to kill me. She was, she played Hela in Thor.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Kate Blanchett.
Yes.
Kate Blanchett.
I have a huge crush on her.
Dude, she plays a young Kate Blanchett, and you also have, Robert Aramayo, who plays a young, Hugo Weaving. And these are kind of, because elves do live for thousands and thousands of years, I can't wait to see who else kind of is introduced as a younger version of themselves. Although I don't know if any, they don't call them hobbits in the show. They call them
halflings
or something like that.
Yeah, arflings.
And so it's really cool to kind of see. I know in what was it, in the Lord of the Rings series with Peter Jackson, it's revealed that Aragorn is like 87 or some shit like that, and so the ages of these characters are kind of very different. So I would like to see like a young Smeagol. That would be really funny. If you end up seeing somebody he's like a lawyer and he's actually like not like a crackhead, I guess before he's before he's had his first hit of that, chasing the dragon with me over at Green whatever college, and so I think I'm a huge fan of this show. I've watched the first 2 episodes so far, and I feel like if we didn't decide on She-Hulk for, there were other reasons why we decided on She-Hulk. But one of the main reasons was because it fit in with the time frame of us coming back and recording for season 3. But if we had decided to wait like a few more weeks, I think Rings of Power would have definitely have probably been our last segmented show, because it is kind of full of, like, it's a whole world, and it's crazy. I think Amazon paid what, like $500 million they backed up the money truck to the Tolkien estate in order to get the rights to these characters and stuff like that. So it definitely shows. They put a lot of love into this show, and I'm having a blast watching this one as well. Is this a day one watch for me? It probably will be. I didn't catch the first 2 episodes on day one, because that was like 2.5 hours you had to carve out on a Friday night. And sorry, but I'm a busy man on Friday nights, if you know what I'm saying. So, but I definitely will be catching the remainder of them probably on Friday nights, if not Saturday during the day for sure. This will be a day one watch for me. But what about Sam? Do you care to What did you think of the show? Have you seen it so far, and is it a day one watch for you?
This was an early sneak preview premiere show for me. Like I went out to good old Cinemark movie theater, and they were Wednesday night. They were doing an early sneak preview screening, and me and my old roommate Heather went out there and watched it together. This show is great. I keep hearing John Hammond from Jurassic Park in my head saying "sped no expense." Um, that's that's what I feel
Honestly,
when I look at the set and the environment of the show. I mean, like you really feel like like you're either in like an earlier version of the Peter Jackson films or just a true Tolkien universe. Like they do such a good job of building this Tolkien universe and making it look real and believable. And at first, I was like, "Hey, that's not my Elrond. Hey, that's not my Gladriel." I would say that was my opinion for like 5 minutes, and then like the show just grabbed me, and I was hooked, and I was like, "Okay, okay, I do see these people as a younger Gladriel and a younger Elrond, and oh my gosh, Ishmael Cruz Cordova, that is one beautiful human being right there, man. Looks like
I'm
he's
telling. Yeah,
looks
you
like
and I were talking about that. Yeah.
looks like they chiseled him out of marble for that elven role. Damn, man. But no, this is a great show. It's fun. It's exciting. Don't listen to the haters out there who are like, oh my gosh, it doesn't go with this or that or this. Guess what, folks? They didn't have the rights to the Silmarillion, nor did they have the full rights to the Lord of the Rings. They had rights. They had rights to certain appendices, and so they had to develop short stories or these appendices that Tolkien had written into something else. So I'm sorry if it doesn't quite match what you want out of Lord of the Rings. They are doing the best they can with what they have the rights to, and they're doing an amazing fucking job with it. Get off their backs already. Whew, I didn't have that stored up inside of me at all. No, this is a fun show. This is a great show. You get to see possibly what the hobbits are going to become, like what they're going to evolve into. You get to see, mankind before it's kind of taken a really firm and strong foothold in Middle Earth, and it's still kind of being watched over by the elves, and there's some tension there. Yeah, you're getting to see just a lot of amazing stuff develop, and like you can kind of see the footwork for where the Lord of the Rings is or could pick up from this. And man, it's just a rich show, and I'm really enjoying it. This will definitely be a Friday night watch for me if I'm not doing something else on Friday nights. But yeah, this will be a Friday night watch for me. Any final thoughts you got here on Rings of or Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Alex?
I mean, let us know down in the comments what you feel about the show so far. I don't know. I didn't finish this second episode. I think I have like 20 minutes left of that. I don't know what the hell that guy is. I want to say he's got to be like a fucking wizard or something, dude. I don't know what the hell he is. But if you guys, watch it, and please let me know what you think of your theories in the comments down below. I want to know what you think that guy is.
I definitely think he's either Gandalf or Radagast, one of those two. But that's just my own personal theory there. Other shows coming out really soon, premiering this week or next or mid-September, are Rick and Morty Season 6, which premieres on Adult Swim today, September 4th. Cobra Kai Season 5 comes out on Netflix Friday, September 9th. Handmaid's Tale Season 5 debuts on Hulu Wednesday, September 14th. Andor launches on Disney Plus Wednesday, September 21st, and shows like Bob's Burgers are entering its 13th season, Family Guy its 21st season, and oh my goodness, The Simpsons season 30 fucking 4 returns Sunday, September 25th on Fox. Alex, with so much coming at us so quickly, what of these shows gets put on the back burner for you?
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of The Simpsons. A lot. I like the earlier seasons a lot more. After anything after about season 10 is kind of iffy for me. I am, but and if with Family Guy, it's kind of the reverse, where the later seasons are a lot funnier than the earlier seasons. To me, Bob's Burgers is always great. But that being said, I typically don't catch those on Sundays when they like the premieres of them for sure. Maybe I might watch the very first Simpsons because it's typically like a what is it the Halloween episode. But other than that, those will probably get put on the back burner. Handmaid's Tale will get put on the back burner. Cobra Kai, I've never seen a single episode of, so that's definitely on the back. Andor is a must-watch for me. That's definitely on the radar, and that might be one of the shows that we end up covering after the She-Hulk wraps. And Rick and Morty, season 6 is definitely on my radar. Huge fan of that show, and I'm super interested to see where they take it after the season 5 finale for sure. Other than that, like I said, these three that we covered at the beginning, She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, and the Rings of Power, those are all staying in my rotation. I'm definitely going to catch all of those. But man, you were right at the beginning of the segment. You said that it has just been one hell of a week for television fans, and it looks like it's not going to stop anytime soon. Like we're going into this is almost like a post COVID kind of just an avalanche of just content that we're all getting. So it's about time because things were slow going for a while there, and I think it's time for the theater side of it, like the movies. They need to start catching up because TV shows are just like kicking their ass right now. But do you have any preference on the shows that you listed so far? What gets put on the back burner for you, Sam?
What would I backburner here? Man, what would I backburner? Wow, there's a lot of great shows. Probably one thing that's getting backburnered is Handmaid's Tale season 5. Nothing against Handmaid's Tale. It's an amazing show. I came into this show late. Like I missed the first 2 seasons of The Handmaid's Tale. So I'm going back and like I'm rewatching and I'm playing catch up so that show gets backburnered for me. Family Guy gets backburnered. Don't get me wrong. I love Seth MacFarlane. Huge fan of the Orville. Love A Million Ways to Die in the West. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch it. Love Ted. Do love Family Guy. It's just somewhere along the way, I kind of fell off the Family Guy train there. Clearly, according to you, Alex, I need to get back on this train because the latter seasons are funny for me. Oh man, Alex, don't hold this against me. Rick and Morty gets backburner, but only just a little bit. I prefer to binge Rick and Morty, like I'm not like an episode like week by week by week style like Rick and Morty watcher here. Plus, I've just gone back and restarted the show again, running through season 1. So I usually wait till like the entire season of Rick and Morty is out and available for me to stream there. And so yeah, like I said, I don't watch it in short stints. Like I usually binge that show. So those are my back burners. I will be adding Cobra Kai to my watch list. I'm still shocked and flabbergasted that you have never seen Cobra Kai. That's an amazing show. Bob's Burgers for sure, but like you, I don't watch Bob's Burgers on Sunday nights on Fox. I wait for it to come to like Hulu the next day, and I watch it. And again, like you, like I don't hate that The Simpsons is in season 30 fucking 4. Like I'm not one of those hardcore Simpsons fans that was like, oh my gosh, the show died in season 12 and never came back. No, I mean, The Simpsons is still The Simpsons. I mean, like it's still funny. I mean, definitely were some of the earlier seasons a little bit funnier, sure. But I love The Simpsons. I'll take The Simpsons anytime I can. Again, I will definitely watch the Halloween episode, and then I'll watch a smattering of episodes throughout the season. But yeah, kind of like you, like I don't hardcore watch The Simpsons anymore, but it is definitely a go-to comfort show for me that I do watch. Still love The Simpsons, but yeah. So that being said, a recap there. Handmaid's Tale gets backburnered for me. Family Guy gets backburnered, and then Rick and Morty sort of gets backburnered, but not totally. But yeah, those are the 3 on the back burner. The rest of them, I will be watching on and off or binging throughout the upcoming months. That being said, Alex, just any final wrap-up thoughts here about any of these shows we listed, or is your statement about movie theaters you got to catch up? Is that it for you, or any other pearls of wisdom you're gonna drop on us here, sir?
I mean, that's pretty much it. As always, I invite the fans of the show. Let us know down in the comments below what's on your radar, what gets put on the back burner, what's something that you kind of left a while ago. and never really picked it back up that you might pick up now or just leave alone. And let us know what you guys think of House of the Dragon, Rings of Power, anything that you guys enjoy, man. We always love talking with our fans in the comments. Get in there, man. We always love having a discussion.
All right, folks, that wraps up our TV extravaganza of what are we watching? Moving from, what do you call this, a vast array of TV shows to one TV show in particular, we are jumping over to the Marvel Disney Plus show She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Quick spoiler alert here. If you have not seen the third episode of Marvel Studios She-Hulk Attorney at Law, pause the podcast here, log into Disney Plus, watch the show, and then pick the show back up here. About to give you that famous My Comic Life countdown here. We're going to go in 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, folks, you are about to get spoiled. The third episode of Marvel Studios She-Hulk Attorney at Law is entitled The People vs. Emil Blonsky and originally debuted on September 1st on Disney Plus. This episode was again directed by Kat Coiro and was written by the teams of Francesca Gales of The Tick, the live-action version, and Jay Gales of the Punky Brewster follow-up. Walters confronts Blonsky, who explains that he was removed from his cell by the Sorcerer Supreme Wong, and that he returned to prison willingly afterwards. While she attempts to contact Wong, news of her appointment as Blonsky's lawyer stirs up public controversy. Her former colleague, Dennis Bukowski, approaches the Superhuman Law Division for a case involving his ex-girlfriend, Runa, a shape-shifting light elf from New Asgard who defrauded him by impersonating Megan Thee Stallion, which gets assigned to Walter's co-worker, August Pug Pugiles. And I'm hoping I'm saying that name right. Wong meets Walters and agrees to testify at Blonsky's parole hearing, during which Blonsky demonstrates his ability to remain in control as the Abomination. While Walters helps Pug win his case, Blonsky is released on parole, but forbidden from transforming into the Abomination ever again. Yeah, right, like that's gonna happen. After participating in a televised interview to tell her side of the stories, Walters is attacked by 4 men armed with Asgardian construction equipment who were hired by an anonymous client to steal a sample of her blood, though she manages to fight them off. All right, Alex, so in this episode, yes, we finally get to see the Attorney at Law portion of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. What did you think of this angle of the show?
I dug it quite a bit. I actually liked it more. Like, this episode's probably one of the best ones that I've seen so of the 3, because it is so different, and it also actually feels like a television show. A lot of the other Marvel Studios Disney Plus shows, like your Loki's, your WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, and all that stuff, they kind of seemed like segues between movies, and in some cases even mini movies themselves, whereas this actually feels, I guess it would be like this and What If. It would, and to some effect, actually WandaVision, they actually feel like television shows. But as far as like the attorney at law portion of this, I hope that they do more of this. Like, I'd love to see for this show to actually take on kind of like a and we always love to date ourselves here on this show, but it'd be like a Harvey Birdman type of like theme to it, where each week she is actually trying to kind of exonerate a different person for a different superhero and stuff like that that is being sued or being arrested or something, have charges against them. And I'd love for them to kind of lean into this super hard and have her have to almost be like a Murder, She Wrote or a Matlock type of scenario, where she's constantly being hired by these obscure, they can be obscure or kind of mainstream superheroes to definitely and they can still have like a big story in the background. I would enjoy that, but for the most part, like, I really enjoyed this this episode for sure, with it being heavy on the actual attorney at law portion. But what did you think of this angle and this particular episode?
Well, first of all, I'm shocked, man, because usually you're like, more action. It's got to have more action. It doesn't have enough action for me. So color me shocked that you're like, I want a slower paced lawyer show. Man, I've heard you, cry, not enough action during WandaVision, not enough action at times during Hawkeye, not enough action during Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And man, wow. I'm sorry. I am stunned and shocked here. No, that being said, yeah, no, I loved the lawyer portion of the show. She presented herself as a really believable lawyer and definitely, made a very strong case and argument for Blonsky's freedom. And I mean, kudos to the, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, the actor who plays Blonsky. Wow, man, I cannot think of his name.
Roth.
Yes, Roth. He
Tim
made
Roth.
Yeah, Tim Roth made me like Blonsky and not hate him, and made me think, wow, man, like both her and him together sold me. Like if I'd been sitting on that parole board, I would have been like, yeah, this guy is rehabilitated. He deserves release. And no, I didn't mind that this show had less action in it. It was still fun and funny and entertaining. And yeah, kind of like you said, it reminded you of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Yeah, it reminded me of that a little bit. And again, we are going to date ourselves here, but it also reminded me a little bit of Ally McBeal. And
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying that. So yeah, no, you can definitely have more lawyer heavy portions of the show. Sometimes I felt like I wanted Daredevil to have more lawyer heavy portions of the show. Like we didn't get to see him in court a ton, So yeah, definitely, you can have a more lawyer heavy show and still have it be entertaining, and this show proves it. That being said, so far this show has cameoed Bruce Banner, Emil Blonsky, and Wong in each of the 3 released episodes. There are those that think She-Hulk Attorney at Law should cut back on its cameos. Alex, do you agree or disagree, sir?
I disagree. If anything, I think that it should lean harder into them, not necessarily kind of letting the cameos kind of overshadow like Emil Blonsky did, but kind of add to the story more like Bruce did in the first episode. Actually, it does, like, the cameo side of it does kind of stay true to the source material when it comes to She-Hulk. There was an article written in the Ringer that I read by this talented writer named Daniel Chin. He says, although almost every MCU TV show has had its fair share of cameos, with the exception of Moon Knight, She-Hulk is setting a record pace for including familiar faces with previous Marvel affairs. That may seem like a deliberate ploy to rope in viewers who might not otherwise want to watch a lesser-known title character, but in many ways the pattern feels true to She-Hulk's history in the comics. From heavy hitters like Spider-Man to more obscure allies like Howard the Duck and all the C-list villains in between, sensational She-Hulk lured its readers into its world by unapologetically promoting its guest appearances while simultaneously poking fun at Marvel's tried and true tropes and sales strategies. So it does, like, it fits in with the She-Hulk kind of formula a lot like her breaking the fourth wall and the sometimes hypersexualization of the character. These are all things that came over from the comics, and so I really like the cameos. I enjoy them, and they're done very well so far. So why stop? But I mean, do you agree or disagree, Sam?
Well, she actually makes a joke in this episode about how this is not going to become a cameo heavy show, which I think is kind of funny in one of her fourth wall breaks. That being said, no, I do not mind all the cameos, as like you said, as long as they don't distract from the show or take away from her character, and they haven't so far. Like they've all kind of helped make the show really well, but they've only been a small piece of the show. They haven't been the whole show, and they haven't really distracted from the show. They've just kind of been part of an episode, and it made sense. Like these weren't just like blatant cameos for cameo's sake. Like each of these cameos made sense. Like like in the first episode with Hulk being there to teach her like how to control her She-Hulk powers. And of course, if you're going to start up a meta or superhero division of a law firm, of course you would have to defend Emil Blonsky or other heroes or villains kind of like him and get them off, or defend them in court. So I mean, like I said, all these make sense to me. Like they aren't just like, oh, we're gonna put this person in here just for the sake of trying to draw in viewers. We've written like an episode that could work with like anybody, but we're gonna put this person in here for this reason. And yeah, like I said, it doesn't really distract from the show. It only helps grow the show. So no, I have no problem with these cameos. You can keep bringing them on. Like I said, just so long as they don't distract or draw away from the show.
So that being said, Sam, who would you like to see cameo in this show?
Oh man, who would I like to see cameo in this show? We've already seen so many people. You know what? I
I mean, we
really
still haven't seen Daredevil, but we know that he's going to make an appearance.
Yeah, so Daredevil's fun. Honestly, I really enjoyed Scarlet Witch's sister from the Hawkeye series, and I think
Black Widow. You're talking about Yelena.
yes, Yelena, and the actress who plays her, I'm blanking on her name, Florence Pugh.
Yes.
Florence Pugh is such an entertaining and great actress. She showed up on this show needing legal advice. That would be funny. I think Sam and Bucky stopping by for legal advice would be hilarious as well. Nick Fury showing up would be badass. Possibly Shield putting Jennifer Walters on retainer. Although they probably already have an army of lawyers. Any of those cameos. If Vision showed up, no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Dude, I think
Actually,
so for me.
Oh, actually, you
Go
could.
ahead.
Sorry, no. I jokingly said Vision, but you could actually do a whole episode on Vision wanting to be an independently recognized person and the government trying to claim him as government property, and she would have to defend Vision as being, a actual human being and not government property. That could be an amazing show within itself, right there. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Alex, but yes. Who would you like to see cameo on this show?
All right, so there's two that I would like to see. The first one is I think that it would be really cool if She-Hulk needed some help gathering evidence on a case, and she had to go, and so she would need the help of Jessica Jones, which I feel like would be a really cool cameo. They could even arm wrestle or something to see who was stronger. And the second one that I think would be really funny is that if at the very, very end, in the very final little cutscene or something like that, Chris Evans returns as a small, just a quick cameo because he's been mentioned so often in the show, and you can tell that Jennifer Walters had a huge crush on him. So for him to make an appearance would be really funny, and I think it would be a big payoff to a kind of a season-long joke for sure.
Oh my gosh, yes, your cameos trump my cameos. Yeah, those two would be amazing. Yes, and also, it would help kind of connect and bridge that Netflix Marvel verse with this Disney Plus Marvel verse. Both those would be great. And yes, Chris Evans showing up, especially after that huge joke payoff at the end of the first episode, that would be fantastic and amazing. Love both of those. Both those need to happen, if not in the first season, at least in the second season. That being said, what were some of the moments that stood out to you from this week's episode, and what would you rate this week's episode, Alex?
I definitely liked seeing the wrecking crew. That was something that I did not see coming at all. Like I did not. I definitely when they showed up on the thing, I turned to Britt and I was like, "Is that the wrecker?" Like expecting her to know who the hell that even was. I think it was funny that they were kind of like it was almost like a proto wrecking crew where they're not really that great at their jobs yet, and they just kind of stole their equipment from an Asgardian construction worker, and for Jennifer Walters to be like, scared at the beginning, but then kind of look dead in the camera and be like, "Oh yeah," and then change into She-Hulk and just like kick everybody's ass. That was really funny. Um, the scenes, the B plot of this episode was also very entertaining. The case where Pug is fighting against that Asgardian shape shifting elf. That was really funny. Whenever she's like, when they're he's trying to explain the case to her, and she's just kind of laughing at him, and she's like, you thought you were dating Meg the Stallion, and you thought she drove a Volkswagen, like she was fucking, that shit was really funny to me. So it was definitely there were a lot. Like I said, I enjoyed this episode probably the most out of the three that we've seen. I will rate this one very high. This one's probably going to be a solid 9 for me because I would watch
Wow.
this one again. I definitely would watch this episode again without question. In fact, we keep talking about it. I probably when I get off when we get out of the studio here, I'm probably going to watch it again because it was that entertaining to me for sure. But what are some of the moments that stood out for you, Sam, and what would you ultimately rate this week's episode?
Some moments that stood out for me was seeing Blonsky turn into the Abomination and be under control. I don't get why the parole board freaked out so much. I think that was actually like a perfect demonstration of him just trying to be like, look, I am in control. The monster's not in control. I'm in control. Honestly, I think that would have helped this case, not hurt it. I don't get why everyone freaked out, but I liked that. Um, I liked when the parole board tried to explain to Wong that he had broken a prisoner out of prison, that he had committed a crime, and Wong was just like, no, and just sling rings.
He's like, Wong out.
Yeah, Wong out and just opens up a portal and just jumps back through. So loved that. Loved Jennifer Walters helping her douchey not friend, but douchey guy she worked with at the former DA's office win his case. And just seeing the elf transform a lot, that was funny. Especially when she comes out of one lawyer's office as him and starts talking to all the women. I won't spoil that part, but I about spit out my water. I was like, no, you did not just say that to all those women. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then, yeah, her getting attacked at the end and realizing, oh my gosh, I'm She-Hulk. I know we didn't have this segmented, but I'm putting on my tinfoil hat here, Alex. Tinfoil hat here moment. I think the Wrecking Crew was hired by Samuel Stearns. He was the scientist in the 2008 Incredible Hulk film, played by Tim Blake Nelson, who, when the Abomination like rips off the operating table and fully becomes the Abomination, you see this guy is laying on the ground with like a cut in his head and either Abomination blood or Hulk blood, I can't remember, starts bleeding into him, and you start seeing his head swell and grow. I think we might see a return of Tim Blake Nelson's character, and I forget who
As
he.
the leader?
Yes, as the leader. Thank you. I couldn't think of that name, but honestly, that just felt like the leader because the leader is obsessed with the Hulk's blood and trying to replicate the Hulk and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So tinfoil hat theory there. The leader, played by Tim Blake Nelson, hired the Wrecking Crew to get her blood. Just a little tinfoil hat theory there. What would I rate this? Man, twerking and all. And I have, by the way, anyone out there saying that Stan Lee's rolling over in his grave or hates this, didn't know the true heart of Stanley. Stanley would have found this hilarious and loved it. Because this is very much true to the character of Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk in the comic. That being said, yeah, close to you, like 8.8, 8.9, almost a solid A right there. Like, this is a very rewatchable, fun, great episode. In fact, yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.9, almost a 9.0. I'm just a half a point behind you there. Still, just an amazing and great episode. That being said, any final thoughts here, Alex, on She-Hulk episode 3?
No, I'm really looking forward to what we could find out here coming this week in this week's episode. I hope that they kind of keep up with they keep firing on all cylinders. So far, each episode has kind of gotten better than the last one, and they are about due for a heavy on the action episode. But I just don't know if this is that kind of show, and it's weird because I appreciate it for that. Like this is not like they tell you attorney at law. Like it's they're telling you that it's not going to be the kind of um, adventurous Moon Knight or the action, high octane Falcon and Winter Soldier or anything like that. But it is going to kind of be. She's still trying to live a normal life, but she's just a Hulk, like you said. So um, I hope that this keeps going the way that it has. I'm completely like I'm enthralled with this show. It's must watch TV for me for sure, and I love recapping it every week with you, Sam.
I think you summed it up there. I cannot say that any better. All right, folks, this wraps up another great episode of My Comic Life. Social media, time. Continue to like our Facebook page. Just search for that beautiful, oh so awesome, oh so amazing My Comic Life logo and click that like button on our Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel. Just again, search My Comic Life on YouTube. Look for that amazing, beautiful, awesome My Comic Life logo. Click the like, click the bell. That really helps grow the show. As we always say here, we are a show of the fans, for the fans, by the fans. And every like, every click, every bell notification you click on really does help grow this small but badass awesome show. Hey, Alex, we're on Spotify now, man. We have our own Spotify channel. Just search for My Comic Life on Spotify. Give us a like, a follow, and a rate there. But yeah, you can actually listen to us on a normal podcasting platform. So thrilled to be on Spotify. And we'll definitely be posting the Spotify link because I know a few listeners reached out to me this week and said, hey, searched My Comic Life, couldn't quite find you guys there. So we will be posting the Spotify link on our Facebook page for you guys to follow us there. Email us your thoughts on the show. And yes, comment on our post on Facebook. We love talking to you guys on Facebook and on YouTube. But yeah, also email us your thoughts and opinions on the show. Do we need to talk more about video games? Do you want us to do more television roundups like we did with this episode? Do you want us to go hardcore into cinema? Let us know. You can email us your thoughts and opinions on the show at realmycomiclife@gmail.com. Again, it's all one word. I know a little bit of a long email address there, but again, all one word, realmycomiclife@gmail.com. And in fact, it's time to shout out our My Comic Life fan of the week. Our My Comic Life fan of the week is Zoe Williams from Stowe, Vermont. Again, Zoe Williams from Stowe, Vermont. You are our My Comic Life fan of the week. Zoe, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for liking our YouTube channel and for asking about our Spotify channel as well. Zoe Williams from Stowe, Vermont. I hope you're staying bundled up there. I know it gets cold in Vermont sometimes. Zoe Williams, you are our My Comic Life fan of the week. Salute to you, Zoe.
Zoe Williams, man, thank you very much for the support. Hit my DMs if you want to get down with some with some heroic conversation, and we always appreciate our fans reaching out to us.
Oh my gosh, Alex, apologies to Kevin Smith, man. We just ran out of time again. I'm so sorry there. Zoe Williams bumped you from this week's show. We definitely want to get you on to talk about Clerks 3 coming out again. Sorry to Kevin Smith, man. We just ran out of time this week. We will try to squeeze you in next week, sir. But until then, folks, ditch the herd. Be a nerd. Stay strong out there, my friends.